For my part in this allegory, I'm not going to make the same mistakes my father made. Howard vanished from my mother's life before I was even in it, so when he sent me a letter a few days after Mum's funeral, it was the first I'd ever heard from him. But he was dead. Writing from beyond the grave must be a genetic habit in my bloodline. His letter contained a key, instructions, pleas for forgiveness. I figured the dead don't have much use for absolution, so I turned to his prophetic passing, which he inexplicably expected to come any day. Clearly averse to explanations, my father preferred to leave directions to a bank on Mayfair I'd never even heard of. In that bank was a safety deposit box in his name, and myself as executor. Of course, I went, as he knew I would. I discovered that despite the evidence, he'd been legally declared dead almost 30 years ago, and said the old book and collection of notes I found had, in the eyes of the law, been mine all this time. My father's instructions were to burn the documents, raise no further questions. But that was his error. No man's immune to the shameful trappings of curiosity, and my humanity got the better of me. The university I taught at was world-renowned for two things: physics and linguistics. I represented the first, and the man who stood for the second was stumped by my recent acquisition. The book was indecipherable. The notes, however, showed a location somewhere in uninhabited northern Greenland. It took me almost a year to book the last flight I'd ever take. As I watched civilization disappear along with Heathrow, I realised my father had disappeared 3 decades ago, almost to the day, and I considered in turn what it was that I was leaving behind. We landed on a strip of ice a few feet wide, and within minutes I was pulling away on a charter boat, beginning the 12-hour journey that would lead me into my past.
Welcome to Penumbra, the Black Plague, everybody. Finally, we're almost docked. I'd better stow my gear. I may be far from home, but chances are I can still pick things up using the left mouse. I can take a closer look at things using right mouse. For those of you who don't know, this was created by Frictional Games, the same people that made the name escapes me, the Amnesia series. Jake Daniels. Good old bottle of Granddad. Gone. Reduced to atoms. This fog closed down on us almost as soon as we left port. Haven't seen any landmarks for ages now. I don't know how they're managing to navigate. I'd be as good as lost at sea if I was on my own. Not a thought worth thinking. Book. Always good to have a notebook. And to jot down interesting information and reminders. P. I think I left my torch in the desk drawer next to the bed. It can be opened using my left mouse on it, holding the button down and moving the mouse. So we're in Greenland, huh? Let's take a closer look at this map if we can. Can't do that. I'm certain this map's a good decade or so out of date, but landmarks don't change much in Greenland, so I've got a plenty decent idea of where I'm heading. Soup. The crew seemed friendly enough, but just in case I locked up my valuables. I'm pretty sure the key's in my inventory somewhere. Once I found it, double-clicking left mouse button should get it selected, and then I can press interact on the padlock to unlock it. There's not much light in here. My flashlight could come in handy. Hello. Oh, boy. Hey, lady. I'll take that. Could come in handy if the torch runs out of batteries. I should be able to access it through my inventory or with the shortcut key, G. Some extra batteries to power my flashlight. If we're going to Greenland, this jacket should be very important, but I can't seem to pick it up. I can pick this up, though. Can't close it in there. It's a rickety wooden desk. I can get that drawer open if I just hold the interact button and drag with the mouse. The flashlight switches on and off via the inventory tab, or hopefully with the shortcut key F. That should be everything I need. I want to get going before dark. pretty odorous. Glad I'm getting out of here soon. They must eat and sleep and, well, do everything else in this one room for weeks on end. Another bottle of old Granddad. Dearest Eric, just a quick note before you set sail and leave me once again. I left you a little something to remember me by in the chest at the foot of your bed. I don't really know why you still only have one bed on board. Taking shifts because of it is no way to get your rest, but does a fisherman's wife know... But what does a fisherman's wife know of life at sea? So that bottle of Jake Daniels was... Whoops. I'd be praying every night for you to make the catch you need so that you can come home to me safely and soon. Please don't be gone for 5 weeks like last time. I know I might nag sometimes, but I do love you, you know. I washed those overalls of yours. I know you'll get them covered in assorted fish parts in no time, but I still feel better knowing they've had a wash. Before I forget, the Henriksons in the village have asked me to see if you'll be coming by any trout, but I said they were mostly out of season. If you do happen upon any, don't say anything, stow them well in the ice, and I'll do something special with them to celebrate. When you come home to me, the ship's captain deserves a little special treatment once in a while. Take care, my love. That's nice. I wish I had someone to go home to. Fishes. Without any further ado, let's get this game started. As I stepped off the boat, setting out into the blizzard that had formed around me, I realized just how utterly devoted I'd been to the discovery of my father's past. I had no idea what to expect. Soon enough, my concerns were justified. I don't know whether I lost my orientation or my spirit first, but I lost feeling in my extremities soon after, and knew hypothermia was setting in. I started looking for shelter. So cold, don't know where I am, need shelter soon. I've jotted down a note, which I will not be reading, because I don't feel like freezing to death yet. My entire head went numb a long time ago, but I can still hear the wind roaring past, or is that some kind of animal in the distance? Let's hope we don't find out. What in the hell is that? I don't care, I need shelter soon. Looks frozen shut, need something to break it. I think I saw some rocks back here. Yep, right here, 3 of them. If I use interact mode R, I can swing the stone more accurately. Really? Oh, look at that, I can. I hope to God it's not frozen inside as well, so weak, but if I just interact and lift, safety, or at the very least shelter. Jesus, my head. I can't believe I fell that far and survived. Although, looking around, maybe I didn't. What is this place? A heavy-looking wooden barrel. Could be anything inside of it. Empty boxes of ammunition. What is this place? Flare. More flares. There's nothing in this world that isn't hidden, it seems. A basic wooden door. Easily openable. It's a 24-hour ration pack, long past its sell date. Looks like beef with beers and mashed potatoes. Sounds tasty. Another flare. This looks like a can of sardines. These shelves are as old as everything else around here. Could be over 50 years since anyone's been down here. Let's see. I can swing this hammer if I hold left mouse. I can make a backswing by pulling the mouse right and then follow through by pushing left. The opposite works too. Pulling back and then thrusting forward produces a stabbing motion. I reckon if I hold down right mouse after the backswing, I should be able to look around. Let's just put you here. There we go. Getting the hang of it. Interesting. So, now we have a weapon to defend ourselves and open up these boxes. Barrels. Not that there's much inside of them. More ammunition. Heavy wooden shelving. Metal shelf. Perfect time to use the hammer. This hole's been boarded up a long time ago. The wood seems pretty soft now. Didn't like the sound of that. Where's this lead? This looks like some kind of industrial mechanism, although there's a hole in the center. And no way of operating it. This whole place is coming apart. Jesus. Didn't like that one bit. This hatch is seriously solid. It won't open by hand. Someone obviously wanted to keep people out or in. And we're right back where we started. Hello. Metal rod. I don't think I know what to do with you. There we go. Now we can descend deeper. Whatever I was descending into, it was 100 feet below ground, protected by two solid metal hatches located in a remote Arctic wilderness and buried beneath the snow. I didn't know what to expect, but it made me feel something I hadn't felt since I was a child. I'd never given it much thought before, but I realized that our entire society is a network of safety nets, emergency services at the end of a phone line, health and safety in the workplace, friends, family, lovers, all there if something goes wrong. Part of a carefully designed structure to prevent all but the most mundane of emotions. Once again, I felt like I did when I was in school, surrounded by a closing ring of older kids, knowing anyone that might help me, friends, parents, teachers, were too scared or too far away. Now I'm trapped here forever. There could be anything living down here. Heroics are for Hollywood actors and fairy tales. I'm not taking any chances. If I have to face off against anything down here, I won't last a second. Caution and stealth are my only defenses now. If anyone or anything hears me, I'd be best off staying low and out of sight until I know whether or not it's a threat. Crouching by pressing X will give me the chance to hide in the shadows. I know I've got it right because of the blue tint to my vision. Plus, I should be quiet enough that I won't be heard unless something's right on top of me. Better remember to shut off any light sources, though. My best bet is to hide for a couple seconds or so, perfectly still. That'll make me properly hidden. A wooden box. Thule. 327879. What's a Thule? So we are here. Storage seems to be closest, so let's head there first. It would be a left, followed by two more lefts, so 3 lefts. A U-turn, if you will. Gonna try to save my flashlight for when I absolutely need it. This glow stick works well enough. Here we go, the offices. Almost looked like there was writing on that sign. Help, maybe? I'm not sure. Can't quite make it out. Nice office. So much history in this place, tied up in words and left to decompose. Old shelves. Discarded papers. The text on these pages is illegible. Years of damp and cold have dissolved its meaning forever. Nothing seems to be hidden in them either. Key could be useful. Copenhagen Post, Monday, 17th of August, 1930. Psychotropic deposits at the bottom of death mine. Researchers at the University of Copenhagen have suggested that mind-altering chemicals naturally sewn into the rock may be the cause of high suicide rates at Greenland Mine. The university, which has recently been conducting studies into isolated communities, first became interested in the workers of the northwestern lead mine last year. They discovered that even taking into account Greenland's naturally higher suicide rate, local figures for the last 100 years were abnormally high, at 46 deaths per 100,000 populace compared to the national average of 29. On further investigation, experts diagnose in many of the biters symptoms in common with the earlier stages of paranoid schizophrenia. This has prompted researchers to hypothesize that natural deposits of lysergic acid, a pH4 formula recently discovered to have hallucinogenic properties, may be present in the rocks. Few locals were conducive to interview, but those who agreed to speak had their own explanation. Inuit spirits, also known as the Turngate, live in the mountains. The university is awaiting the results of chemical testing. Studies continue. Bottle of Baxtrin might come in handy. We'll see about that. Officer's log. It's a military report dated 1945. 15th of August, 1945. Command bunker. Emergency airstrip Zulu. Weekly report. Another unremarkable week in Greenland. Regular supply shipment received. Standard emergency drills carried out. Routine runaway. Maintenance is complete. I have ordered maintenance be carried out twice weekly from here on in due to increasing snowfall. 1 wounded. The 1 wounded figure is no cause for concern back in London. The Germans haven't extended their front line by 4,000 miles. 2 of my men were caught manufacturing cherry bombs in our workshop armory and succeeded in blowing off a couple of fingers. I take partial responsibility for this and that I allowed them access to the demolitions manual we keep in the storage room, and I'm sure that's where they learned the ingredients. As a precautionary measure, I have now locked up that manual in the chest in my office and will keep the key on my person at all times, something we collected in the drawers. Needless to say, both men have been disciplined and the injured man has been sent home for medical care. I cannot help but think that a more suitable punishment would have been for him to stay out here, but the matter is out of my hands. This base is so disconnected, sometimes I feel like as if this war could end and we might not even hear about it out here. Supplies requisition order. Dynamite for excavation purposes. 7 bayonets. Not necessary in my opinion, but procedures state that we should have a full complement. 1 industrial ice pick for removing the damaged ice that forms on the external hatch. 1 pair of reading glasses, category 7C, in order for myself. My glasses are in rather poor state of repair and could do with replacing. Reconditioning of the mine continues to progress. The structure is being fortified for potential bomb damage, and excavation of previously caved-in areas is going ahead. 1 point of curiosity is some kind of archaeological find, an artifact buried in the earth. Where was I? And discovered by one of the work teams. Later that evening, after martial duty, I shall take a closer look at the artifact. It appears to be man-made and may have working parts inside. I shall remove what looks like the front cover and see if I can't discover the sources of the light which constantly emanates from it. Chief NCO M. Major. You mean this artifact? It's a picture of a British platoon. It must date back to World War II. I suppose this mine was converted into some kind of bunker. A man, an old man, clutching something unseen. He is strange, and yet he is no stranger. Never seen before, still I know. This man before me is Howard. I call him Father. What the hell was that? What just happened? I don't know if that was such a good idea. Let's do it again. I may never get used to that. Let's move this chair out of the way. Batteries. Always search every nook and cranny of this game. There's always something hidden. The Empire Typewriter. This typewriter dates back even further than the war. Made in Germany, 1923. Not as heavy as I thought it was going to be. More drawers to search. What do we got here? Dried meat. Thule again. Survivor ration. Strange. Beef jerky, not without aroma. More documents and papers and whatnot. Rotting wooden shelves. Must be the added moisture from the grate. This whole room is putrefying. Flare. Light. I miss being outside already. This place is starting to get to me, but even if I could reach that grate, it looks built into the rock itself. No way it's coming loose. We'll look at that chest after I'm done here. An age-old filing cabinet with more jerky. Delicious, delicious 50-year-old jerky. As well as 15-year-old medicine, it looks like. Painkillers. A chest for storing valuables. Locked, but not for long. The big book of explosives. Useful, but not worth reading right now. We'll keep an eye on that later. But I'm going to give this room once more look over. Make sure we have everything. So close to the light, yet so far. Oh well. This room seems over, so let's just leave and continue our journey. Next stop is the supply area. Storage. I believe it was on the opposite end of this mine, so we should have to go this direction. Oh god, is something else down here with me? I can't just wait here for whatever's around the corner. I need to hide. Oh, Jesus. And not a second too soon, either. Oof. Yeah, I'm not going to bother reading that. I got to concentrate on this guy. Oh, there it is. I can barely see it in the dark, but he's there. We should try going around. This place must be old if they're still using paraffin lamps. Looks like there's still some juice left in it. If only I had something to light it with. It seems like the music is tied to enemies in this game. When the music picks up, you should be on high alert. Storage room, so we're going in the right direction. Ugh. I hate the growling. I think it's safe to pull out my glow stick now. Storage room. Boots. Locked from the other side. That Does that mean that there's someone else still inside? I can hear them chattering. Thank God. Maybe I can not read the rest of that because I'm a slow-ass reader. Ah, a lighter. A Zippo lighter, but it's empty. If this lighter wasn't empty, it'd be a handy thing to have. Lighter plus fuel equals flaming spider and a happy face? It's a crude representation of a scorched, writhing spider. More drawings of spiders equals unhappy face. The work of either a child or a deranged mind. Not sure what I'm looking at right there, but it doesn't look like a good sign. This shows some kind of trapdoor, but I can't see where it would be. Box filled with circles, minus the circles equals moved box in a trapdoor. Paint. Ice white. Anemic red. Just old paint cans. More paint cans. More paint cans. Reams of wiring. Locked door. Lots of paper boxes with rusty nails. Sure hope I'm up to date on my shots. We haven't tried this door yet. Another drawing. Spiders equals unhappy. Alright. We'll take a look at this later. Fool. 34, 67, 88 again. Lots of bottles, batteries and medicine, and another artifact. It was different, but the same that time. Like I had more control, but over what? Maybe we will find out. There we go. It's hard to grab a hold of these things. Now we just push this aside and trapdoor. I don't think that whispering was our man in the other room. Flammable barrel. Hold on, there's a activatable thing right there. It is. Ugh, spiders in small places. I don't know if I can go through with this. I think I can hear the pitter-patter of tiny feet. Oh. Christ, was that a spider? I don't like spiders. Me and you too, buddy. Me and you too. Not going that direction. Ladder. Could be useful. I'll put it over here so I don't lose it. Let's go this way. I have regret of going this way. A horrible sight. Luckily it's mummified, or else the smell would have been awful. I don't want to think about how it got like that, or how it got down here. Dry, dusty old bags. A letter. Some sort of diary entries. Day 1. I begin the record. Still in the hope that the great work we have undertaken here might one day be of scientific value. Despite the chaos that has ensued in the 6 hours previous, my aim is to remain secure until what help there may be arrives. And to that end, I have barricaded myself into a small workshop area in the abandoned part of the mine. I hope that the meager food rations here will keep me alive, and that those I hide from will not jeopardize that. Perhaps this mine really is cursed. It's almost precisely 30 years since the incident that brought us here, and now 30 years on, fate is struck again. Day 3. I forecasted that today the rescue crews would arrive, but I can only hypothesize that they would be unaware of my location, and hence busy themselves evacuating the other survivors. If they had not arrived by tomorrow, I will go out in search of them. Day 6. My first mistake was to make assumptions on the matter of rescue. My second mistake was to make assumptions on the safety of this mine. My third mistake was to act on both these assumptions in going outside of my safe haven. My best estimate is that I left the workshop where I was secured about 2 days ago in my search of aid, and I have found only danger. I approached living quarters, but curiously couldn't find no sign of life whatsoever. I returned to what I thought was the direction from which I had come, but soon found myself in an unfamiliar locale. Confused but focused, I attempted to make my way home, but found myself threatened by some species of feral creature, which seemed to have made this old mine its home. Sounds like the dog that we met earlier. Although the specimen bore significant interest to me, I chose to retreat, only to find myself outmaneuvered and outnumbered by the beasts. Beasts, plural. I turned and ran, injuring my ankle in the process, which I believe now is most likely a sprain rather than a fracture. For some time I cowered and fled into the dark, but a few hours ago I discovered a door leading into a smaller, disused part of the mine, the key for which I still have in my pocket. Within that area I discovered the storeroom, and I think it should keep me safe for some time. This place is a maze. My lesson learnt: I will not venture out again until I am certain the area is safe. Day 19. Rescue seems increasingly unrealistic. Supplies diminishing. Lots of spiders in this place. I don't like spiders. Day 34. I caught one of the accursed 8-legged beasts nestling in my open mouth when I woke up this morning. In my surprise, I swallowed it. It's not so much the act of swallowing which concerns me, but the genus of arachnid. It would be unlikely that a cave-dwelling spider would be venomous to any significant degree, but the possibility troubles me all the same. Day 35. Any known venom would have affected me by now, and so today is the first minor cause for celebration I've had since the incident. By lucky coincidence, this revelation also means I have discovered a virtually inexhaustible supply of nutrition. I intend to venture into the basement beneath this storeroom in the name of science to discover more about these creatures' natural habitat. Day 50. For 4 days now I have been surviving solely off the quite considerable sustenance provided by the spiders. For some time I was struggling to gather enough for the crunchy little morsels. However, Lady Luck smiled on me once more when the batteries of my torch died, and I made a second life-saving finding. The creature's natural habitat is the dark. With my light now diminished, I need only lie still for a few minutes, and I will have attracted enough of the beasts for a rather hearty meal. Honestly, in a real-life survival situation, I don't know if I'd be able to bring myself to eat spiders. I have an awful phobia of them. Oof. Steam. Looks like it'll hurt if I touch it, so I ain't gonna. And I really don't like the rumbling. I don't like being in this cave. I don't want to be here. Finally, this must be all that's left of the basement storage. The locked door looks rather worse for wear. Really. That did it. More paint. Hospital gray and hospital gray. Oh, fluid lighter gas. That should fire up now. Nothing to test it on, though. More sardines. Wheel, baskets, chest. Filled with batteries. Sounds like a minor leak coming from these steam pipes. Sounds like the gas got turned off. Goody, but I still don't want to be here. I'll pick that up later. If it weren't for the size of the pieces, I would say it looks like eggshells. I'd rather not think about that. Oh boy. Day 71. My earlier assumptions of the benign nature of my cellmates may have been made in error. After a careful autopsy, I am concerned that there may be a small volume of natural chemicals stored in the stomach, which, if ingested regularly over a period of time, may become psychotropic or even lethal. My only real chance is to break out of here and raid any stashes of supplies I can find. However, the evidence against such a move is insurmountable. I have no source of light. I swore to myself that I wouldn't leave until I heard human voices outside. These spiders are so tasty. Day 100. From the marks I've been making on the walls, and my scribbled diary entries, which, in the dark, may amount to an illegible scrawl, today is the 100th day of my new life. Over the past month, my edible friends have become more and more aggressive and have swelled in number and size. Whether or not this is a result of my plundering their ecosystem, I am unsure. However, at this rate of growth, they will soon be too large to crawl through the gaps in the walls. For all I know, I could be only seeing the tip of the iceberg. If all else fails, I am never recovered, I hope at least that my study of, and indeed involvement with, these fascinating creatures will one day be regarded as an important point in natural history. The greatest names in modern science got there more through fluke than talent, and it appears that this rule has extended itself to my discovery of this delicious new species. I only pray that the second rule deems my breakthrough too insignificant, for all great discoveries tend to consume their inventor. I think I've seen all there is to see down here. I'm going to take my ladder and leave. Sounds like he's had better days. It looks as if this basement caved in some years ago. Something tunneled through here more recently, though. Christ, what sort of creature makes these markings? Probably the same guy that took our spider hater friend away. Oh, Mr. Spider Hater. Oh, I think someone has been dragged through here. I've never seen this much mud before. That was my best chance to get some answers. Who else is down here? Let's check the room he was in first. My lord, look at all this blood. Seems to be a pencil. More drawings all over the place. A key. Old key. Wonder what it goes to. Day 200. It has been some time since I recorded any findings in relation to the spiders with whom I have shared my existence for the past 8 months. Partially due to my enforced retreat from their basement territory. Not too long ago, their behavior became overtly aggressive, and so I've attempted to barricade the main entrance to their lair, and secure myself within one of the smaller rooms above it, the only one with an operational locked door. The other reason is that I have been recovering from a minor operation, which I was forced to conduct on myself without the aid of anesthetic. Even if I did have any anesthetic and surgical tools, I couldn't afford to be less than diligent in my work, so anesthetic was out. Surgical tools were all well and good, but although it may be becoming old and rusty, I still trust my penknife to do the job just as well. The procedure itself was elementary enough, a simple amputation of a non-vital organ. I began to notice a thick, glue-like substance forming on my tongue, and was forced to accept that it had become infected through constant toxic ingestion. Day 300. Nearly a year. Another century of days come and goes. It seems like so long since I escaped here. At some stage since my last entry, I attempted to return from whence I came. That from which I originally was fleeing seems a fate far worse than the one I now face. However, in the time since I arrived from the larger mine system, a cave-in has occurred, blocking any further progress. I was forced to return and accept whatever end life has in store for me. I still hear my aggressive little friend scratching on the door of my cell. I would hate to be trapped here for 300 days. Years and years of reports, logs, and files just left here to gather dust. There's probably a century of life and death right here at my feet. It's all rotting away. More scrawls of spiders. Oh! It looks like an internal organ, maybe an animal's tongue. This is probably the spider hater's tongue. And is this what he's been eating off of? The largest spider I've ever seen, with its gut carved open. I wonder. His tongue is almost the size of this massive beast. That's probably bigger than my head. So how this managed to fit in his face, I'll never know. And another thing, if it's been 100 days since he chopped this thing off, how is it not rotten? I don't want to think about that. What's in here? More jerky. This hole isn't large enough for a man, not that I'd go anywhere near it even if it was. What burrowed out of this tunnel? Can't quite see what's inside it except for a blood trail leading in. I think it's safe to say that our spider hater friend is done for. But with all 3 areas explored, I think this is where I will end this episode of Penumbra. So, that being said, please leave a like, comment if you want to see more, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Goodbye, everybody.